Monday to everyone in the sports universe. It is March the 13th, 2023. This is the AM Drive. For Aaron Crouch, I am Michael Carvelis. Aaron, how was your weekend? How you doing?
Weekend was good. Enjoyed some time with the fam and didn't really do a whole lot, which is always, not the worst thing in the world. But doing
Right. That's awesome. Anything in sports that you saw over the weekend that you like?
To be honest, I don't think I watched a lick of sports. I didn't watch any hockey. Um, when I was at work, I caught a couple basketball games, but other than that, no, not really.
Fair enough. I'm reading some NBA stuff right now. I see Anthony Davis. One of the top things this morning on ESPN is he said he didn't do his job. Ha! Interesting. He finally admits that now, years later, that he stinks it up sometimes. Just doesn't show up for games. It's great.
And that's okay. He'll get paid. It's funny.
You're funny. Also, I know off the top we're not going to talk about is Dominican Republic lost Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic. Only thing cool about that is Shohei Ohtani's playing in Japan.
Yeah, and the U.S. even got beat by Mexico, so it's these favorites are coming out a little rusty right now.
Fair enough. Oh, I didn't know Tar Heels were going to skip the NIT. I didn't know you could do that.
Well, every tournament in college basketball is an invitation. I mean, you look at
Is that what they call an invitational?
The NIT is a national invitational tournament, so invited, and you can decline it if you want. I think it's kind of a slap in the face to the NIT because the NIT at one point used to be the more premier tournament. I know that's obviously a long way from where we are now, but I don't know. To decline the NIT is kind of a slap in the face. You want to decline the CBI and the CIT? Sure, that's fine. I get that. Those are some made up BS tournaments, but I thought that was kind of messed up. But maybe Hubert Davis was just like, we don't deserve to really play anywhere. So I don't know. We'll see.
By the way, Jim Boeheim is retired from Syracuse before our last show, and I wanted to give my thoughts to him because he had a great career.
Yeah,
and I know he established the zone or whatever it was at Syracuse, that type of defense where you stay in the paint. And to be fair, in college basketball, that works because guys can't shoot most of the time in the tournaments. It's like they get hot, but they don't really shoot well, so you kind of have the luck of the draw there. I love Syracuse. I remember watching the guy Fab Melo. Not Carmelo, Fab Melo, the guy who ended up dying a few years ago. But yeah, he died. Fab Melo died.
Oh wow!
It was like some health complications or whatever. But whatever it was, I didn't watch Carmelo Syracuse. I watched the little bit later than that. I was like after the Derrick Rose and Carmelo Anthony era.
Yeah, Carmelo was fun to watch at Syracuse.
That's why he's still good, according to some people.
Good morning to me. Yeah, he was. He was incredible to watch at Syracuse. He was only there 1 year. They won the title, but there was the Jerry McNamara era where they were, Syracuse was on top of the Big East, and their battles with UConn for a long time. The 6 overtime game in the conference tournament,
right?
One that'll go down in history. And Boeheim was, orchestrated in all of that. I mean, he spent his entire life at Syracuse. He went to Syracuse for school. He was a graduate assistant. He was an assistant coach, and then he became head coach in like 75 or 76.
Wow.
And he's still now. I mean, that's...
And won a championship in like 2001 or something like that. I forgot when it was.
It was Carmelo's year. I think it was 02 or 03.
I didn't know Carmelo actually won it. That explains more hype about Carmelo.
Yeah, Carmelo was there 1 year, and they won the title.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, he's been there his whole life, and he's like the ultimate Van Wilder. He just never left college.
And people made a good point that now Coach K and Jim Boeheim are gone. It's kind of like, wow.
And Roy Williams, too. So it's...
there goes the blue and the oranges I used to watch.
All the blue bloods are losing the premium. I mean, Rick Pitino's... There's talk that he's going to take over the St. John's job, so he might be back in major college basketball. So they're not all...
He left. I forgot. Don't remind me.
Yeah, let's not go back into that story.
Oh, Lord. Go to MikeandAaronDrive.com. It's our shop, sponsors, socials, and YouTube in one beautiful place. We thank Aaron for that on our link tree. Let's get into March Madness. That was a perfect segue. I did not plan the Jim Boeheim topic until this works out well. Let's talk about this because if you're surprised, Stanford got the 1 seed in the women's tournaments. But obviously, that tournament doesn't get good to the Final Four. But in the men's March Madness, which is what we're going to be talking about, obviously,
Right.
Houston, Kansas, who's back, and Purdue are the 1 seeds. You know what's crazy? To mention this about, I want to get started with this. Bill Self from Kansas had like some health problems recently and missed like a whole tournament. So that's interesting to look at for the future, considering they are a 1 seed. Purdue's always good. I feel like Purdue doesn't get the same hype as Gonzaga, but they always pull a choke job in the Sweet 16 when they're a 1 seed. So I just want to mention that to Beck Boilermakers. Houston's been good the last 5 years, I feel like, and Bama is pretty good as a basketball program.
Yeah, I mean they've obviously had a good season this year. I mean they're known for their football. Houston is a fun one. They've been at the top of the polls all year, and it's good to see a mid-major of sorts. I know they're moving into the Big 12, but it's good to see a mid-major hold a number 1 seed. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, Purdue, tried and true. They're going to have an interesting test. Sweet 16, whether they play Tennessee or they play Duke, which we assume that's the way that the bracket's going to go on that side. At least that's how I'll be filling it out. One of those 2 teams will be meeting Purdue in the Sweet 16. Kansas, the defending champs, of course, are right back there at the number 1 seed. I'm curious. Of course, we have the 5 versus 12s. There's always one that wins every year. I'm looking at them, and for my early prediction, I'm looking at Drake over Miami or Charleston over San Diego State. How you feeling about those 5v12s?
I like the Charleston one. I feel like San Diego State is like always like good but not good enough. I think you could probably catch them. I don't want to say napping in the tournament, but I feel like you can catch them off guard a little bit and just looking ahead maybe. I think they're coached well. I don't know who their coach is off the top, but I think they're coached pretty well over there in San Diego State.
Yeah, I think Oral Roberts may give Duke some fun, but
I was about to say that too. Is that taboo?
Duke will get there. Duke will get through it, but I think it might be some fun. It might be a fun sweat. Looking at any other potential upsets, Kentucky with Providence. I think that's a 6 versus 11. It may.
Providence is never a pushover.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be a pushover. The Big East is always tough. I'd love to see Iona win one. For Rick Pitino's the current coach there. They play UConn in the West bracket right now.
I'm going to pick them, actually. I like that Iona over UConn. I dig it.
Yeah, I'm not looking at anything else that really jumps out at me. I'm sure I'll throw a few in when I fill out a bracket. But right now, my rooting interests seem to be in Houston and I think Kansas. I know that's number 1 seed versus number 1 seed, but I feel like those two. Now, obviously, they have to meet up in the Final Four, but I feel like those two are my quote-unquote favorites to take the title here and cut down the nets.
I like Alabama. I really do. I like the fact, although, correct me if I'm wrong, the guy who's in trouble with the shooting thing, is he a star player? I'm pretty sure he is. And I don't know if he's out or not.
He's one of the. No, he's been playing.
Well, that's good. Then we're good.
So one of the teammate is the one who actually committed the crime. But
yeah, I know, but yeah.
Yeah, no, he's at this point in time, he's not being charged with anything. Now, obviously, that can change. I don't know if that'll change in the middle of the tournament, but we'll see.
San Diego State would also have to play Virginia in the round of 16, the Sweet 16. In the round of 32. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Virginia's always well coached, but San Diego State could have 2 upsets, or at least beat the 12 seed and then come back with the win over Virginia.
Well, if they beat the 12 seed, that's not an upset. I'm thinking the upset might happen where the 12 beats the 5.
Yeah, I'm dumb.
But I can see what you're saying. Virginia is a very slow-paced type of tempo, and
Kyle Guy, baby.
Yeah, Tony Bennett's still there, and it's it could be a good matchup if those two meet for sure. You're right with Alabama. That's not the strongest side of the bracket, so we'll have to see.
That's right. You get an easy run, and you don't got to play a physical matchup for the first few rounds. You might have an easier job getting through the Final Four. Who knows?
Anybody? Oh.
Right. You know what? All right. I'd say we take our first break, and when we come back, there's some NFL talk going around, like the Bears. They did get rid of the number 1 pick, But is there more to be had? We're right back to the AM Drive.
All right, welcome back to the AM Drive, and we are presented by Fanatics. It's very simple. If you want to support all the sponsors or shop our shop, especially Fanatics, you've got to go to mikeandaarondrive.com. You've got to click that F. And what do you do when you click the F? It takes you right into the Fanatics store, where you can buy everything from merchandise, apparel, memorabilia, and more from all your favorite teams, players, and leagues. But once again, help out this show tremendously by going to mikeandaarondrive.com and clicking the Fanatics link today.
Hey, man, sounds good to me. Here I am. I'm back.
Here
You saw the countdown, I'm assuming, that time.
I did see the countdown that time, yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. We're figuring that out as it goes.
I don't know.
Right. Let's get to Bears trading the first overall pick to the Panthers for DJ Moore and a boatload of picks that included a first rounder in, I believe, 2025, a second or third rounder in there. I'm like, how? Listen, and for those people that are saying, I want to make this very abundantly clear. For the people saying, oh, they might get CJ Stroud, they might get Anthony Richardson, they're not. This was for Bryce Young. Everyone knows Bryce Young's the number one pick. You don't trade up. You don't give up a wide receiver who's, to be fair, is underachieved at points, but you don't give up 4 picks and that to get Anthony Richardson, who had a good combine. Okay? So we need to stop this Cinderella talk, unless they're stupid. Because the Bears would, you talk about fleecing, the Bears would have absolutely fleeced them, like, and just stripped them down. But they're getting Bryce Young. This is what this move does. I don't want to hear anything else unless Aaron's probably got some inside reports, I guess.
I don't have any inside reports, but don't you find it a little funny that when Carolina acquired the number 1 pick, Ohio State's CJ Stroud became the betting favorite to go number 1 overall? So,
Wow,
I mean, what you're telling me is that it's all for Bryce Young, which firstly, this is a king's ransom for Bryce Young. I mean, kudos to the Bears. I didn't think that they would get something like this. Now, I also believed that, like, you know, Indianapolis picking at 4 was going to move up. I also believed that, like, you know, I didn't think they'd go lower than like 5 or 6, but to go 9, obviously, to go 9-1, you got to give up a little bit. But this is a hell of an asset heavy package. And then to throw DJ Moore on top of it, I think kudos to the Bears, because how long have we been saying, like, get Justin Fields somebody to throw to?
Or somebody else, yeah.
Yeah, I think DJ Moore is an incredibly undervalued and underrated wide receiver. Now he has not a quarterback. Now the question is, does he have a quarterback now? I mean,
that's a good point.
The verdict's still out on Justin Fields, but I'm not going to talk about this just to bash Justin Fields. But, like, for me, I may be in the minority here, but I believe in the Ohio State quarterback curse. I believe in it. I just do. Whatever it is, something comes out. These guys just don't pan out. And if you're telling me Justin Fields is the best quarterback to come out of Ohio State as what he is right now, it's like, good Lord, that's bad. But now there's talks that the Carolina Panthers are open to trading the first pick, and it's just like, what?
Yeah. Oh.
So
you didn't freeze? You were like, just what, and that's it?
No, I was a little speechless for a second, but I'll continue. It's not Anthony Richardson, because if it is, oh my God, then you could have moved up to like 4 and got him, and probably given up 1 less first round pick.
And DJ Moore, yeah.
And probably not DJ Moore. You know, to me, it's just doesn't make a lot of sense if you're not taking Bryce Young, because he's probably the most pro ready. So now, and the fact that there's leaked reports from some of these guys on Twitter that, you know, they're open to moving it. It's like, well, do you really believe you're going to get, excuse me, do you really believe you're going to get exactly what you just gave up or more for that pick? I don't think so. Because the only people are moving up are probably Houston to make sure nobody moves up again, or Indianapolis. Like, they're not going to give you as much as you gave to move from 9-1 as they are from like 4-1. It's just it's very baffling if they're actually considering moving the pick.
I'm confused as a Colts fan right now because on one side I could give a bold prediction right now and just say Colts will trade back actually because there are other quarterbacks. If you're not 100% sold on any of the guys right now, which it seems as always, well, none of these guys are great. Like, I'm tired of fans bickering and complaining about every single quarterback class. But to me, I can see the Colts moving back, honestly. I really could. But on the other side of me is like Jim is saying, when there's been a generational talent that he's seen, I would assume he's told Chris Ballard if he thinks that to go get his guy. Because I'm sure Jim Irsay has a lot of say in that. So one side of me says, well, Chris Ballard is not going to be stupid and just draft the quarterback just to draft the quarterback, i.e. Will Levis, who reminds me of Carson Wentz. First player comp I've ever done is that idiot. And then the other side of me is like, well, if they see a guy like if Bryce Young falls to 4, God almighty take him, but he's not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So do you risk assets? Because listen, Darius Leonard or Shaquille, whatever you want to call him, he's been hurt. And we have a guy named Zaire Franklin who's stepping up to the plate in a big way as a linebacker. I feel like there's other guys to be had in the draft that I don't know if you need a quarterback right now if your guy is gone. So either trade up to get him. I would say trade back if Bryce Young's gone. I would say as soon as that first pick goes through the Panthers, trade back.
It's funny because I really thought before this trade that this was going to be the year where teams weren't really going to fetch what they thought they'd fetch for some of these picks. And then, the Carolina Panthers said, hold my beer, and threw a laundry list of great picks.
And the Rudy Gobert thing.
Yeah. For the one overall pick, I don't see. It's a lot. And the thing is the reason I say that, I know it's happened before, but there have been a lot of missteps in trading for these high, number 1, number 2 picks. Excuse me.
Good morning.
Here's the question. If you come draft day and you're at 4 and Stroud and Young go 1 and 2 in whatever order, and you're the Colts, and you start calling around, or you start, somehow publicly saying, the number 4 pick is up for sale, and no one wants it.
Oh,
no one wants it for what you think you're going to get for it. So, say somebody's like, yeah, man, I'll give you like a 3rd and a 5th, and you're like, ugh. Do you just make the trade for a 3rd and a 5th to go, or do you just take like Richardson or Levis? I know it's high, but you have to take something there if you're still stuck with the pick. And if you really like Levis and you don't think he's going to come around, in the 2nd round, sometimes, honestly, it's the same thing. And I know you probably don't like hearing this, but it's the same thing with Daniel Jones. I don't think people liked the fact that Daniel Jones was drafted 6th, but he may not have been there in the 2nd round if the Giants
That's the point.
took somebody else. So sometimes same thing happens in fantasy football too. You're like, this guy's probably not worth this pick right here, but I want him. Yeah. Where he's destined to go, I'm not picking.
Right.
So sometimes you have to theoretically reach on a guy, which could put some undue pressure on him. But I don't mind if Levis goes 4.
Oh, I do.
I know you don't want him. I'm just saying if that's who they want, like Anthony Richardson talking about going 5, there's a chance that he's not going to be there with Seattle's other pick. So I could see them going 5, to Seattle with Anthony Richardson taking the flyer on him. But if Carolina traded up to draft Levis or Anderson or Richardson, they should just fold right now.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
And like I said, I don't care who they draft right now. If it's Young, if it's Stroud, if it's anybody, if it's Will Anderson, they made a bad trade. Now, would it pan out in the long run as a success for them? Sure. But right now, they made a bad trade.
Unless it's for Bryce Young, I 1,000% agree.
I still think it's a bad trade. They probably could have.
They could have traded with the Texans, because think about this. The Texans, you probably could have thrown in DJ Moore in 1 or 2 picks, because here's the thing. the Bears, I keep telling people, and this proves my point, they're not drafting a quarterback at that spot, and they were never going to. They wanted teams to believe that they had that they didn't want Justin Fields. I think they absolutely want Justin Fields because I see the mock draft real quick at like the 9 spot. Guess who's sitting right there? Quentin Johnson from TCU. There's a few wide receivers just sitting right there. The Bears can, at the end of this first round, have DJ Moore, 4 extra picks, and an awesome wide receiver straight out the draft.
Yeah, and if Carolina stinks next year with whatever quarterback they draft, that pick's going to be high again.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm telling you, I think it's like the 2025 is the first rounder. Do they understand
That's 24.
if the Bears don't like Justin Fields? Guess who's coming out in like – there's another quarterback I'm sure that's going to come out next year. The Bears don't like Justin Fields.
What if Carolina's the worst pick or the worst team in the league next year or one of the worst? They could package up their 2 first-round picks, move number 1. Hello, Caleb Williams is coming out next year.
And that's what I'm saying. So what if the Bears plan – this is a crazy – I love doing these little hypotheticals on the show. What if the Bears plan, like you said about Caleb Williams, is, okay, I'm Matt Eberflus right now. I'm a new coach with this team. Give me a year to see what I can do with Justin Fields. If he stinks it up, we're drafting Caleb Williams with this stupid idiot's Panthers pick.
Yeah, or our pick if we stink.
Both of them shoot.
Or if somehow I find myself with 2 top 10 picks and I like Caleb Williams enough, I'm trading him to the guy that got the number 1 pick.
Isn't that wild how they – I now agree with you that Bears fleeced them harder than I thought they did.
Oh, they fleeced them real hard. Like I said, this was a terrible trade. I understand if Bryce Young becomes a serviceable or even – upper tier quarterback, it looks good. It looks like, okay, it doesn't. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter what you give up if that quarterback pans out. Like Patrick Mahomes, they gave up a lot to move up to 12. He's the best quarterback in the freaking league by a country mile.
Country mile, boy. Go ahead.
What they gave up, obviously it didn't work. So it's apples to oranges. How much you give up, it's really only for a quarterback, but how much you give up depends on the success of that quarterback. But right now, I still think this is a terrible trade for the Panthers.
Agreed. Fanatics link at mikeandaarondrive.com. Click the F, as Aaron so eloquently put it. Landing spots for tier 2 quarterbacks. And I want to get the list real quick because you text me a good list here. The list is, Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, the beautiful man that he is, Carson Wentz, who actually still lives in Indianapolis, and that is wild to think about. And real quick for the Colts, if they have like $1.5 million in cap space, they dump Matt Ryan right now. Like if just release him, they get $19 million in cap space. It's been nice knowing you, Matty Ice. I haven't said how far I've turned.
Well, it's just funny because back when Sammy Action was on the show, and I think we talked about when he was acquired, and Sammy and I was like, this is not good. And you just couldn't be bothered.
No one saw their offensive line crumbling, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. I just, Matt Ryan has just been a mediocre to average quarterback his entire career, minus 1 year.
That's a lie. Marcus Mariota, who's not, we need to stop this. Can we stop with the Marcus Mariota and Teddy Bridgewater? They're not going anywhere. If anything, they go to another backup or third string role. Stop that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, you have to look at this spot. Like Mariota and Bridgewater are going to backup spots. I think Bridgewater ultimately probably ends up back with the Dolphins, unless
I would take Teddy and Indianapolis as a backup.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is a great backup to have. You still feel a little bit more serviceable. As far as who was the other one?
On there, Mariota.
He was released, obviously, by Atlanta. I could see him maybe, ending up in Houston, as the early starter to like CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, whichever one they end up with, because it does feel like Houston's going to take a quarterback. I could see him, being the guy there in that spot. I know Davis Mills is there too, but Davis, you had your chance. Sorry, buddy.
Can you imagine if the Texans luck into this? Like, what if the Panthers trade up to get a C.J. Stroud or an Anthony Richardson or God, that'd be great. Will Levis. Can you imagine if the Texans just fall into Bryce Young's lap or he falls into theirs?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is funny is if Bryce Young is who they want and
lucky bastards
is not Bryce Young, I feel bad for Lovie Smith because I feel like he won that last game just to screw with the Texans organization and give the number 1 pick to the Bears, and they're still going to get the guy they want. But you were talking about Baker. I know this is getting crazy. I'm not a huge Baker guy, but I kind of want to see him in Tampa.
It'd work for a few weeks or so.
Maybe. Hopefully. I do feel bad. I feel like he just can't get right, but I thought he played okay in Los Angeles last year. In a fill-in.
Sean McVay is that guy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I wouldn't mind seeing Baker back in LA, just backing up Stafford.
Well, they're talking about maybe trading Stafford. They already shipped out Jalen Ramsey for a third.
What if they liked Baker better? Because Stafford was really bad last year. Like, I don't care how bad your shoulder is. If it's that bad, you ain't playing, pal.
That's true. And he's only 34, 35. So you would theoretically think he's got a few good years left in him.
Mileage, though, is insane. Like, in terms of football mileage, Matt Stafford's worse than any of them.
Which is funny because he has no playoff games except for
they've thrown him 40 times every game his entire career in Detroit. Good Lord.
Yeah, I think ultimately Jimmy G's either back in Las Vegas or if he's willing to take serious backup money, I think then he may come back to New England.
What a great. Let's say I don't think this is going to happen. Let's say the Packers do get rid of Aaron Rodgers. What if Jimmy G goes to the Packers and they play well?
If Jimmy G goes to Packers, he's not starting. It's Jordan Love's show.
I don't know about that.
Oh, it's Jordan Love. They've already come out and basically said because I believe it's his option year right now. They picked up his option, or he's on his 4th year. I'll have to look that up. But it's Jordan Love's show. Now, does he finish the season as starter? I don't know, but it's Jordan Love's show to start the season.
I think Nick Wright said it best about the Packers, by the way, and I'll end it here. He said, if the Packers knew what Aaron Rodgers was going to do, which they probably did, then why did they not just play Jordan Love when the team was stinking? Because they ended up missing the playoffs anyways. And I know hindsight's 2020, but he was saying 6 weeks before the season ended, play Jordan Love, because guess what happens? If you see that he is really bad, then you can actually draft somebody or sign somebody. But the fact they play this waiting game with Aaron Rodgers, and if Aaron Rodgers does not, if he goes, you're stuck with fooling around with Jordan Love for 5 weeks and ruining your fan base.
See, that's the thing. I feel like now looking back on it now, we see that the fan base in Green Bay is and kind of has been tired of Aaron Rodgers.
Just really stupid.
So hindsight, yes, I can see maybe doing the playing Jordan Love last year. However, they did almost make the playoffs.
Yeah, but that was a pipe dream.
I think if they
beat Detroit, they would have made it. I know.
In, so it's not a pipe dream. I mean, if they controlled their own destiny and winning in. But I mean, I'm not opposed to them bringing in a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield. I think they're gonna find out real quick, maybe in the first 4 weeks, what they have in Jordan Love. I mean, they have to give him a fair chance.
You think Carson Wentz is going to Tampa?
I hope not. I hope Carson Wentz is going to the XFL. I nothing. Wentz. It's just dude, you're done. You've had how many spots now? Philly, Indy, Washington,
And yeah, he got worse and worse and worse.
He'll be a backup somewhere. I mean,
I don't know. I like the XFL thing.
He'll be a backup somewhere. He still has the ability to come in and play football. If you look at him with the Colts, if he can be not bad enough on a team that doesn't need quarterback play, like San Francisco, he could be fine. I don't see him getting a starting job anywhere at that point. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's had 3 starting job opportunities. So he should really just eat a big old slice of humble pie.
All that blasted white privilege, getting 3 opportunities. He stinks. I'm kidding.
The last guy I'll say, I hope this happens too, and I know I'm talking about the Bucs again, is I hope Jameis comes home. I do. I hope he comes home. He's not going to sign this deal with New Orleans after they just disrespected him and brought in Derek Carr.
Disrespected him, really?
I can't
He
figure out
blew
what.
out his knee. It's not their fault.
Well, he got hurt, but then once he was healthy, they continued to go with Andy Dalton.
That was bad.
So something is missing.
He got screwed. I agree.
So come home, Jameis. We're sorry. We had to go get Tom Brady. It's the GOAT, man. You'll understand.
Eating W's. When we come back, Kevin Durant blew out his ankle, and when I'm calling the Illuminati, and also the Boston Bruins are just awesome, and I don't like saying that from Boston, but we'll be right back. I apologize to the good people at Fanatics for not putting that logo up there before. It is here now. Click that logo at Mike and Aaron Drive.com. Kevin Durant's injury. Have you seen the video of this?
I did see a video. It looked a little freaky.
Whoever paid the mop-up guy to not clean that spot, I applaud you. I don't. I'm sorry. Listen, that's a bad... Like, I know they might talk about this. Like, did the guy get fired? Like, I know there was somebody like right there mopping up stuff, and to see that right there, is it like a regulation where like you have to go in there and say, "Hey, KD, don't jump," or is it like let the players do it? Because this is I know like I don't really see it happen. Like, even Skip Bayless, who's been around the league and the world for years, says he's never seen it like that before. But that's bad. There was obviously a wet spot there, and he bloop. Ankle went kaput.
Yeah, it just seems like a freak accident. I'm not sure what really could be done about that. Like, I mean, maybe there was some more to mop up or dry, or I don't know. There's nothing you really do. I mean, but I couldn't happen to a nicer guy, I guess. But
right.
I feel like, I know it's a freak injury, but like injuries in Kevin Durant, like this is the new normal. With Kevin Durant.
Well, it's long, skinny guys. Like the whole adage on like Kristaps Porzingis and all those Chet Holmgren guys is they're too skinny, but Kevin Durant gets a pass because he can score 30 a night, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Oh.
I mean, winning, and or putting the thing in the thing.
Winning. That's funny.
Here's all. No, I said or he has won. He's got 2 titles.
Yeah.
Got 2 MVP. I don't like Kevin Durant, so believe me, I'm not blindly defending this guy. But the question really is where does Phoenix end up in the next 3 weeks? How much time's left in the season?
They're falling fast.
Yeah, so like if they're in the playoff, the play-in game, like that could be a problem for them.
Someone made a point that if like Golden State could line up to play Phoenix, and they're without Kevin Durant. So those lucky Golden State bastards every single year. Like how many times have you seen the graphic of like Steph's rings? It's like all these injuries above him.
I have not. No.
It's so bad. It's like Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving go down. What was the other one? Like one of the Rockets players, something like that got hurt. It's just a long list of like really guys. Like they can never play a fully healthy team.
No, and that's what it seems to be like. Basketball, it's like I don't understand how. I mean, it's just tall guys who are just getting worn down. I get it, but it's like, man, the more these guys train and the more they are, in shape, the more injured they get. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. I mean, even at the point LeBron's starting to break down now, but I mean, it took him 18 years to get to that point. But yeah, to me, it's. Where are the Suns going to end up? Because it looks like he's going to be back for the playoffs.
Cool.
And what?
Cool.
Like they're not the favorites. Obviously, we think that that's probably Denver in the West, or maybe. I mean, Golden State can't really be considered the favorite. They can't win on the road. But
Sacramento, LA.
If LA is the favorite, I'm done. They can't be the favorite. They come in like the ninth team in the play-in game or something like that. Like
LeBron will be the first to do it, baby.
Well, yeah, that's because they had to open up the participation trophy playoffs and have play-in games.
We didn't know LeBron was gonna be this bad. We didn't know the Lakers were gonna be like that. So hey, I'm for it.
I don't like a play-in game. Like if you can't make the top 8 seeds, if you can't make the top half of your conference,
You got to think though, like, and people are gonna like let it slide. I know you're not. If I tell you about this, but here's the thing that Jordan and just people in general are gonna have to understand. This was to stop tanking, and to be fair, it's kept 12 or 13 teams in the mix compared to like 9. So instead of like guys like actively like going 50 every single game, you actually have like 12 or 13 teams in each conference trying to win the thing. That's why Lakers have not given up yet.
you know,
And,
there's there's just an easier way to eliminate tanking is just to make everybody's balls even. If you miss the playoffs, your balls are even.
that sounds so dirty. I love it.
I said it that way on purpose.
Okay, good.
Yeah, your ball,
You don't have dirty, you don't have dirty ones, do you?
dirty balls. I just woke up, but I probably
No, I meant like, come on. I meant like an STKD.
no. Why are we talking about this?
Because it's you brought it up. Dirty. Come on, man.
Dirty balls and STD are not exclusive. Mutually exclusive. Wow, let's get back on track. Speaking of dirty balls, Kevin Durant's out for the rest of the season.
Regular season.
Regular season, yeah. I'd like to think he comes back strong, but I don't know. Like
break.
they just they better figure out something because they traded a lot of depth to get Kevin Durant. So hopefully they can get through this season at least on some crutches and stay.
Oh, some man, listen, stop that.
Stay out of the play-in game.
On some crutches, get out of here.
The 5th or 6th seed or something like that, you know.
Victor Wembanyama is coming into the league. The league is saved.
Yeah, I watched him get posterized the other day.
Good, because he goes up for blocks. That's what we like.
He didn't even jump. He just got dirty balls.
Because he can stand out like this and go 3 feet above the rim.
We'll see what happens to those tall, lanky guys.
Chet Holmgren's coming back next year.
We'll see.
One last thing I'll say is it has been extremely frustrating this year to see every other game a star player has to rest and they still get injured. Like, I'm not talking about the little 2-day injuries. I'm talking about like they're saying like, oh, he has a bad hamstring or he has a bad ankle. I don't care anymore. Like I was against like the whole they got to play 82 games thing, but like you said before, they had to like put some games played in those contracts. Like that's getting so it ruins fantasy basketball too, and that's big for sports.
Right.
It was just ruining it. Like, God dang, guys. How do you get that out of the way?
I honestly have to wonder, and I don't know, there may be something to this, there may not. But like, and of course guys got injured back in the day, but like a lot of those guys had 82 games on the stat sheet and they didn't miss time. I mean, but I wonder if playing and staying in a regular rotation of playing actually keeps you from being injured.
The body is meant to recover itself, and if the body all it spends is recovering, doesn't do anything. I mean, I get fat when I sit around all day. You don't think I'm not saying these guys get fat, but I thought about that myself too. Like, is the body doing worse because there's not the wear and tear? Isn't the whole thing like muscles need wear and tear to grow?
Well, they need to tear to grow back, yeah.
So what are we doing resting them? Like, come on.
And it's like the
more
more
they tear, they rip in half now.
Yeah, I mean, the more you play, it feels like the more you stay in what's called game shape, and if you take time off, I think that actually matters. I really do.
This is definitely getting clipped to YouTube. Thank you for that. That was good. Ooh, all right, Bruins, baby. I don't like talking Boston. You can talk Boston.
Well, there's not much to say here. I just wanted a little tidbit at the end of the show. I mean, it's a pretty damn impressive feat. Probably going to means they're going to end up breaking the points record, but they are the fastest team in NHL history to ever reach 50 wins. I know we're going to keep talking about these Red Wings and the 95-96 Red Wings and, of course, the Lightning from a few years back. They both did it in 66 games. So to reach it in 64 now, that's impressive. I mean, you're talking about 64 games. I don't have the record in front of me, but they're basically like 50, like 9 and 5. It's incredible.
That's not even fair.
It's just like it's a recipe for the regular season to be great, but I know that everybody's talking about, well, come playoff time, we'll see what happens. Let's take
50-10-5. They lost last night to the Red Wings.
Oh, that's right, they did. Yeah, so 50-10.
Holy cow.
That's pretty insane. So, just a little tip of the cap here to the Boston Bruins on what they've accomplished. Of course, everybody's going to say, well, let's see what happens in the playoffs, and they're right. But let's not forget to take a moment to recognize what has happened in the regular season, and it's pretty damn impressive because it never has happened in the regular season.
So this is a wild stat. Forget like the home and away and points differential. Their goal differential, which I love, is 103. The next closest is 58.
Oh yeah.
No one's above 60, and these guys are. They're not just winning. They're smearing teams.
But that's the thing. Like, you look at their games, they're not really even smearing teams. But it's just the fact they'll win by like 2 goals here,
2-0 or something like that.
Yeah, they'll win like 2-0 or 3-1 or 4-1. It's like they're winning every game by like 2-3 goals, and that adds up to a pretty damn good goal differential for sure. And then not getting blown out in the games they lose is obviously key as well.
Kraken, that's true. Kraken are playing the Stars tonight. Dallas -125. I'm getting Kraken money line.
Go for it. Dallas is a good team, so I mean,
I didn't ask you that though.
You can have Kraken money line. I mean, any game on any night, any team can beat any team in the league. So
you were great today, by the way.
The Kraken are playing.
Be nice.
That's a new nickname for them, the Kraken.
Glenn Kaplan calls in the Crackheads.
Yeah, well, the shoe fits.
Get out.
It's gonna do it here for us. Sorry, Mike, I hurt your feelings, but please make sure you support the shop, sponsor socials, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Of course, that helps all of us out here at the AM Drive tremendously. We appreciate you guys listening, learning, tuning in, and of course, supporting us as always. We'll be back Friday with another edition. I think we're going to bring back the Fantasy Draft Friday. That's going to be in the mix, so you guys might enjoy that. So make sure you tune in Friday, of course. And of course, in the meantime, in between time, shop, sponsors, socials, YouTube, we are out. For Michael Carbellis, I am Aaron Crouch saying enjoy your Monday.
Don't text and drive. Drive safe.